You know that feeling when you use a product and everything just clicks? It just works. And then there's the other feeling, right? The one where you're ready to just chuck your phone against a wall because an app is so impossible? Well, that feeling, whether it's pure magic or pure frustration, it's not an accident. It's all by design. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something called user experience. All right, let's get right into it. I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? Just staring at a screen, clicking a button that does absolutely nothing. Or maybe you're lost in a menu that feels more like a maze. Here's the thing. That's not your fault. It's not a user error. It's a design failure. And figuring out why that is, well, that's the key to understanding why good design matters so much.
And look, this problem, it's way bigger than just our screens. Bad design is literally everywhere. It's this shared experience we all have, and it almost always happens for a reason. It's either a conscious choice someone made or, more often, a total lack of one.
Just think about it for a second. You've definitely stood in front of a sign just like this, right? And you're just squinting, trying to figure out what on earth it's trying to say. Is it a warning? Is it a rule? What am I supposed to do here? See, that confusion, that's not just a digital thing. It's a basic communication breakdown, and it happens all over the place in the real world. And here's a perfect example of how that same problem shows up online. All you want to do is one simple thing, but the screen just throws this chaotic nightmare of buttons and options at you. This is exactly what happens when nobody stops to think about the actual person using it. A tool that's supposed to be helpful just becomes a digital brick wall. So, who's the hero in this story? Who saves us from all this digital chaos? Well, that would be user experience, or UX, as you'll hear it called. It's this whole field dedicated to stopping that frustration in its tracks. The goal isn't just to make things usable, it's to make them actually enjoyable, genuinely delightful even. Now, this is the textbook definition from the two guys who basically invented the term, Don Norman and Jakob Nielsen. And the key word here is all aspects. See, UX isn't just about the app or the website itself. It's everything. It's the ad you saw, how easy it was to buy, the email you got afterwards, even the customer service call you had to make. It is the entire journey.
Okay, so this is a really important point, because people mix this up all the time. UI versus UX. They are not the same thing. Think of it like this. The user interface, or UI, is the look and feel. It's the stuff you see and interact with. On a movie review site, that's the search bar, the star ratings, the filters, the buttons and menus. But user experience, UX, is the whole feeling you get from using it. So let's say that movie site has a beautiful search bar, but it doesn't even list the indie film you're actually looking for. Well, then the whole experience is useless, right? That's the difference. A pretty interface can't save a bad experience. All right, to really nail this down, let's talk about a classic story, a perfect, real-world example of great UX. And it has nothing to do with computers. It's all about ketchup. So here's the deal with the old Heinz glass bottle. Everybody knew it was a pain. You'd smack the bottom, nothing would happen, then suddenly half the bottle would flood your plate. But here's the crazy part. When Heinz asked people about it in focus groups, nobody really complained. It was just, how ketchup was supposed to work. But then they did something smart. They went into people's homes and just watched them. And they saw the reality, the shaking, the knife digging inside, the frustration. That's when they had their aha moment. People couldn't tell them the problem, but their actions screamed it. And that led directly to the upside-down squeeze bottle. See? They didn't just make a better bottle, they fixed the entire experience. That's UX. Okay, so if great UX isn't just a happy accident, how does it actually happen? What's the secret sauce? Well, it's not magic. It's actually a process. A very deliberate, structured process that puts a real human being at the heart of every single decision. And at the core of a lot of this work is a framework called design thinking. It's basically a 5-step playbook. First, you empathize. You really get in your user's shoes and understand their world. Then, you define. You figure out what the real problem is, not just the one on the surface. Step 3 is ideate. This is the fun part, brainstorming tons of wild ideas. No bad ideas here. Then you prototype. You build a quick and dirty version of a solution, something you can actually touch. And finally, the most important step. You test it with real people to see if it actually works. But here's the most important thing to remember. This is not a straight line. It's not a one-and-done process. You might test a prototype and realize you totally misunderstood the problem, which sends you all the way back to the beginning. It's a constant loop of learning, building, and refining. And through that whole messy, creative cycle, the one constant is the focus on the actual person you're designing for.
Okay, so that's a nice process and all. It's great for making products people like, but let's be real. Why should a business actually care? Why does any of this matter when it comes to money and success? Honestly, it boils down to something really, really simple. If your users have a bad time, they're not coming back. Period. In the world we live in now, there are a million other options. If your app is a pain to use, people will just delete it and find one that isn't. They're gone. Forever. Good UX isn't a nice to have anymore. It's about basic survival. And if survival isn't enough of a reason, here's the kicker: the money. This stat is just mind-blowing. For every single dollar a company invests in good UX, the return can be anywhere from $10 to $100. Let that sink in. That's not just a good investment, that's an absolutely incredible one. This isn't some fluffy, feel-good thing. It is one of the smartest financial moves a company can make. And you don't have to take my word for it. Let's look at some companies, some absolute giants who built their entire empires on this very idea. Let's start with Airbnb. Now think about it. The idea of renting a room in a stranger's house is kind of weird, right? They didn't invent that idea. What they did, and what made them successful, was they solved the number one user problem: trust. They obsessed over it. They designed an entire experience around making you feel safe. Things like verified profiles, secure messaging, and that brilliant two-way review system. It's all designed to lower your anxiety. And that obsession, that laser focus on building trust, well, that's what turned into this. That massive revenue number isn't just about having places to stay. It's the direct result of using smart design to make millions of people feel safe and comfortable enough to sleep in a stranger's house. That's the power of solving a core human problem. Okay, next up, Netflix. Again, they didn't invent movie rentals or streaming. What they did was perfect the experience. Think about how ridiculously seamless it is. You're watching a show on your big TV, you pause it, you go to the kitchen, and you can pick it up on your phone right where you left off without even thinking about it. That kind of consistency across all your devices, that's not easy. It's an absolute masterclass in UX. And that relentless focus on making it easy, on creating that it just works feeling, is exactly why they're the king of streaming. They took away every little piece of friction between you and what you wanted to watch. And no surprise, that led directly to this kind of jaw-dropping revenue. And for our last example, let's talk Spotify. Now remember, when they showed up, the music scene was already packed. You had giants like Apple all over it. So how did they win? They focused on one part of the user experience better than anyone else: music discovery. It wasn't just a library of songs, it was a service that helped you find your next favorite band. That Discover Weekly playlist, for so many of us, it felt like magic. It just got you. And that experience, that focus on personalization, that's what built a company worth over $26 billion. So you see the pattern here, right? Airbnb built trust. Netflix created a seamless flow. Spotify personalized the journey. These aren't just little features. They are core business strategies built on great UX that create unbelievable value. So the next time you use an app or walk past a confusing sign, you'll see it differently. You're now seeing the world through a UX lens. You'll start noticing all the little frustrations and the brilliant solutions. And the question in your head will start to change. It won't just be, why is this so annoying? It'll be, how could I fix this? So what bad experience out there are you gonna fix?